Hello and welcome to This and That. I'm Dave Leese, and today I'm thrilled to welcome back everybody's favorite Maya Bagriantseva. Maya, welcome back to the skating lesson.
Such a warm welcome. Thank you.
It's so funny. I have called you several times. You've been sick, you've been busy. Then you say, why don't you call me? So you're back on the skating lesson. Yes, where you belong. We need to know all of your opinions.
I'm happy to be a guest.
Yes. Yeah, I was your guest last time, so now you have it coming. Yes.
Yeah, we
You
keep exchanging favors.
Yes. Well, you were just at the Grand Prix Final in Grenoble. What did you think of the event?
It was small, relatively small, because it was, originally it was not supposed to happen in Grenoble. It was given to Orléans in France, but they had some financial problems, so they had to, cancel. And French Federation said, okay, let's make it Grenoble. But it's a very small arena, less than 4,000 people. It's very difficult to get there because there are no direct, convenient flights or trains. So it was not packed the first 2 days of the event. And it had a feeling, more like a feeling of a Grand Prix event, not just final, not the final, but the event, like one of the, like Skate America or something. Everybody was pretty relaxed. It was not like everybody was tensed or, it was okay. Let's put it this way.
Were there a lot of Japanese fans there? Because obviously there were a lot of Japanese skaters.
Quite some, yes, not as many as Saitama Arena the same weekend where Yuzuru Hanyu had his show and his birthday party. Way less, but yes, there were some. I think for juniors, actually, I was surprised to see a very good support for some juniors. Of course, Kaori, all the girls, and Yuma. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. Do we need the Russians back?
Yeah, you start from the most important question, right?
There are important questions. Listen, every week there are people that leave comments yelling at me that I'm not talking about the Russians enough. But I was wondering if you think the competition is lacking without them at this point.
To be honest, I'm not very popular in Russia for saying that should we add Petrosyan or some other Russian athletes, the situation with the fans would not have changed drastically. I mean, they're not as popular as, let's say, Trusova or Sherbakova or Valieva even, where it's not like people in the West know the new Russian names. It would add to level of competition in some disciplines, that's for sure. But my personal opinion is that, let's say, pairs event, of course, Russian pairs are good. But without Russian pairs, we seem to have very good, interesting competition. There are lots of flags, and we see, in the media center of the Grand Prix Final, there were very many Italian reporters. I don't remember them, being that many. Of course, it has something to do with the Olympics in Milano, but also because Italian skaters start having medals, they become more popular, and it raises interest. So I think that pair event, Misha and Galyamov, Stilata Duda Baikova Kozlovsky would definitely have contributed to the level of competition. But, we have what we have. I don't know if one Russian athlete, neutral athlete, being added to the competition would have changed a lot. But of course, if that was Adelia Petrosyan, there would have been some quads, I assume. Russian pairs would definitely raise the bar for the competition as well.
Yeah, I think at this point, I just felt like some of the final was lackluster in terms of the matchups between the top few skaters. There were more mistakes than we've seen in the past. Because
the medals are closer,
Yeah.
You can get them. You can actually feel the smell.
Yeah.
And that's where you start making mistakes. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think in some respects, there were a lot of mistakes in some of the women's short program was not a well skated event. But I think it'll be interesting to see if they do have one quota for next year. There have been a lot of rumors, but there are rumors every season, right? There have been rumors.
It keeps happening. Yeah, it feels like it's a new figure skating discipline in Russia, and discussing and spreading rumors that we're almost back. We are closer to being back. What we have at the moment is that nobody's going to discuss that until March, when at Boston Worlds, ISU will hold another council, And this question is at the agenda. They are going to discuss that. What they might do, they can say that, okay, September, we have a test event, not the Nebelhorn, but the new one that the ISU established. And we don't know actually when and where it's going to happen, but it's the plan. And fight for that one quarter as neutral athletes. And actually, nobody knows what's going to happen. What we have is that the first Russian neutral athletes from the winter federations have been admitted and given that neutral status. That's ski, I don't know how ski climbing? The new discipline that is going to be, that's going to premiere at Milano Cortina. There are some Russians that got the neutral status and they're going there. But figure skating, I don't think anything happening before March. And if you ask me, I don't see in whose interest is that. I mean, I don't see why that should happen. If we look at different federations like America, Italy, Japan, why having Russians back right before the Olympics? They will definitely fight for the medals. Some of them will definitely fight for the gold medals. So I don't believe that much, but it may happen.
I would be curious if the IOC makes a decision, right? Besides, I think if the IOC decided to allow Russia back on the grander scale, then figure skating would obviously follow.
But actually now officially, like it's up to ISU. ISU has to make a decision. And the IOC told us that they have given ISU the neutral criteria that Russian athletes have to, fulfill, to follow. So it's up to ISU, but they're not going to discuss that until March.
What if the war ends, right? Because at that point, neutral status.
I would be happy.
Yeah, I would be happy as well. There also wouldn't really be something to be neutral about unless it's retroactive at that point.
We're turning a little bit into political podcast. I can talk about that forever. It means, very much depends on what you define by end of the war.
Yeah.
It actually, I don't know, it can mean pretty much everything. It's up to a person who makes that decision. Is Ukraine happy with the result of the peace treaty? Should this peace treaty happen? I don't know. You have a new president. Congratulations. I think a lot depends on that person. At least we have a feeling that some cards can be, changed on the table. But that's just our assumptions, right? So we don't know anything yet. So my bet would be the neutral status, not the Russian flag, Russian anthem, and Russians back at the competition.
Yeah, that's why I'm just asking, because it seems like a lot is going to change over the next couple of months. And I think we could be having a very different kind of discussion in March or July about what would happen and what the...
Oh, we might not. Actually, it can stay the same. Like it stayed in gymnastics at the Paris Olympics. And, I wouldn't bet my money on either of the outcomes.
Yeah, I agree there. I think, Paris was, a very successful Olympic Games. I think NBC was very happy with the viewership as far as we know. But, the winter is a very different Olympics.
It's way lower. The interest is way lower in States, right? To Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I will say they've started to, all of a sudden, NBC reported on results of figure skating, and they reported on Amber Glenn both on the morning news on NBC and on the nightly news, which was interesting because we really haven't seen that for figure skating.
Like in a while, right? I think since what, Michelle Kwan?
Yeah, maybe little things here or there, but they're starting to talk about Amber. In a way, obviously there was some discussion of Ilia Malinin after the World Championships and him doing so well and using the music that he did from the popular TV show, but we really haven't seen, a personality profile on Amber about overcoming her struggles. And it was interesting that it seems like if she keeps doing well, it's a big opportunity for skating in the States that they haven't had in a while.
And you have Boston Worlds, right? Home event for Amber. That could bring her like more of a spotlight.
Yeah, and then obviously we were just kind of mentioning this right before we went on the air, but there was a New York Times article about Madison Chalk the other day.
Yeah. So, and that was not in the sports section. That was in style.
Yes.
And I think that's like big. I'm a big fan of Madison dresses and the way how much of a diva she is. but I think that's big. I don't tell me about that because New York Times is not my newspaper, but
Yeah, I mean,
you,
my boss actually sent me that article yesterday morning. That was how I was alerted to it, and I just thought, how funny, because obviously it has Matthew Caron in there, and I certainly am familiar with him. I have a DHL delivery coming today from him.
from his atelier. Tell me, was that like a good old-fashioned paper newspaper, like New York Times, or that was just
Yes.
the website? For me, it's just, I mean, it's still big, but
Yeah.
do you still have it in paper?
There's still a paper form of it, yes.
So there is an article about Madison Chalk in the paper New York Times.
Yes.
Get me a copy.
Okay. I have to get a copy of it. I can see what I can do. But yeah,
Okay, thank you.
interesting. Yeah, that happened. So that's obviously huge for her, and huge.
Actually, it's good. It's huge for figure skating as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if Madison Chalk can attract some viewers that are interested in fashion, some runways, why not? It's good.
And if they covered it this year, that means they're going to cover it before the Olympics. When all of a sudden every newspaper wants to have an angle, they'll have every women's magazine. So there will be interest in Madison Chalk, and certainly that's a good omen for her.
So who's, let's say, top 3 U.S. athletes, figure skating? I mean, figure skaters who have the chance of being the most popular in states before the upcoming Olympics.
Amber,
Amber,
Madison Chalk.
mm-hmm.
And then I would think either Alyssa Liu or Ilia after that. But Ilia is not, so far he hasn't caught on that closely. And I wanted to ask you about Ari's comments, because obviously you were in the mix zone and he gave an interview to the Russian press. It just seems like, Ari is fighting for his athlete, but sometimes his comments come across in a way that's not endearing to some of the fans who find it a little bit arrogant that he is always saying that the judges are against Ilia, because I think there are a lot of people that feel that Ilia gets, scored very, very high. So I was wondering what your take on that was.
Yeah, I was there right after Ilia came back from the victory ceremony, and actually it was me who showed him the protocol, and he was pretty surprised to see those, cues and rotations. But he was okay. He was relaxed. He was laughing. It was not like he was devastated. Of course, it's a big thing for him because he's like 100% athlete. But it's, I mean, something to work on. Ari was mad, yes, but I think he's just too passionate sometimes, both about skating and Ilia. Of course, he sees that as a big commercial opportunity, but not only for himself and Ilia, but also for skating, because he keeps saying that figure skating lacks personalities, some huge achievements, something that people would speak about and talk about like forever, and that quad axel is definitely something that got not front pages, but some coverage in the media that actually never write about figure skating. I'm not an agent. Probably I would have done it a little bit differently, but what you cannot take away from Ari is that he is like, he's very, I mean, he means that. He's very passionate. His genuine emotions. It's just the way he feels and the way he feels about figure skating. He's afraid that empty arenas are not good for skating, not just for ISU, but for skating as well. And he wants to attract more people. I don't know if Ilia is that popular in states as he says. I don't see like big contracts, but to be honest, I don't see big contracts. I mean, what skater has like big contract? The last I can think of was Nathan Chan with Toyota, but I cannot think of anyone. Help me.
Yeah, no, it's been a little while. Obviously, the pandemic didn't help last time. I think, Nathan obviously did well. Could have done more. Certainly if Nathan were Amber, that would have been, a bigger situation. Gracie and
Can Amber get contracts?
for sure. If Amber wins in front of a packed house in Boston, she could give a lot of contracts going into the next Olympics. She also has ties, right? She has the mental health aspect. She has, the women's sports, sort of sportswear, athleta, tons of things that might want to.
You know what? She is 25, and it's interesting to talk to her. She has things to speak about. She's not like a 15 or 16-year-old who is just, new and fresh at the field. She is a personality, that's for sure. She's not afraid to talk. She's not hiding behind some, we have to work more. I will concentrate on my training. Fighting only against myself, and all those phrases that sometimes you hear in the mix zone, and actually they mean nothing. Oh, Amber is always such a pleasure to talk to. She's very open. You believe her, and I think this is a very important thing. Like, you really believe what she means, and she's open, and it buys, attention of the people, and it's good for her.
I do think that there will be a lot of interest in Ilya should he win in Boston and go into the Olympic Games. I'm sure they will be, a big push for him by NBC and others. In the year before, they're starting to build right now.
Yeah, we had the same thing before the last Olympics in Russia, when Nike and some other big brands, they started signing Trusova. No, Trusova was with Adidas, but still. Of course, a year before the Olympics, this is when they start hunting for the athletes. And I think Ilia could be a good ambassador for some brands for, I don't know, teenagers, or I just don't understand why it's not happening at the moment, why he's not as popular as actually he is at the arena. He's the one that people cheer the most for. He's, all his raspberry twists and now backflip is very, very warmly welcomed by the audience. Everybody's clap. It's like getting wild, actually. But it's not like I see that happening outside the arena. So I wonder what's happening.
I think if some of the Olympic sponsors want him for ads, in the 6 months before the Olympics, I think this summer, will really tell the tale of how big he will get if they, will start filming him in car commercials and whatnot and showing some of his stuff, things could really improve.
Yeah.
I do think for Amber, the fact that she has a triple axel as a woman, that's a very known.
As a woman of 25 years old, this is a very
Yeah.
important thing to know. Yeah.
Plus, and a lot of people know the triple axel because of Tanya Harding. Obviously, Mariah did it at the Olympics, and there was the
Mirai, yeah, as well. Yeah.
there was the movie I, Tanya, right? That people saw in,
Okay.
and that's all about the triple axel. So that's in everybody's, back of their mind, right? That they have heard about this triple axel before. So I think that gives Amber, kind of a unique element to her. All of the
And
different.
she's so stable. This season, she says that's her easiest jump, believe it or not. She's like, no, it's really the one I never think about.
You know why she's
Stable.
so stable. You're Russian. You read the comments on sports.ru, and it's all about the Vyvanse that she is taking. So I was wondering your take on this. You actually spoke to her.
I was so mad when I read all those comments. It's also on Twitter, and I had talked to Amber and asked her because at the press conference she was very open about the mental coaching she's doing and the therapy. And I asked what kind of therapy we're talking here about, and she is so excited about this neurotherapy she mentioned. It's something with the brain waves and something that gives you positive affirmation, and then she's doing meditation. But she looks so confident now, and she believes in this neurotherapy so much. She's like an ambassador for this thing. I read everything I can find online about it. It looks a little bit like new, fresh, new medicine for me, but that definitely helps. And if it helps her, I should try it.
I think we all should. No, so what I heard about the neurotherapy, because I know another a figure skater in Colorado that does it. From what I heard is that they teach you how to visualize, and as the skaters are visualizing their program.
They put something, what she explained to me,
Yes.
they put something on your head, and she goes there twice a week for, let's say, 20, 30 minutes. It's not like she spends hours there. And it gives sounds and sometimes even words like good, and actually it analyzes the waves from your brain. Okay, this is not the field I feel confident at, but it seems to be like we know nothing about brain. It's still a very promising field. So if that works, oh, hell, I need to try that.
So from what I heard, and obviously it's something that has more benefits the longer that you do it. I've heard that they have arranged her program based on the waves and the measurements to be allow her to regroup in the program. Because you remember she used to
Oh,
always
that's exciting.
have mistakes around the third or fourth element. She always used to start to.
But you know what? She explained that. She said that she was so much under the biggest stress and this fight or flight, right? That she had to fight with this adrenaline rush. And that's why she was absolutely exhausted after the first half of the program and she cannot do anything. So now she knows how to fight this stress and not being 100% consumed by it. That's why she can actually keep skating with regular, heartbeat and without being absolutely, tortured by this stress. So this is her explanation.
Yeah, and Russians actually do something for the brain as well. Um, I've seen the institute for the biomedical institute where they do after the training some of those to allow them to mentally train again the next day. So I do think that there is more that we're learning about the brain and the impact that it can have. So I think it's
She actually said that she shared the information about this method with some other skaters, and very many were very intrigued and interested, and some are also doing that at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'll be interested, but I think it's very promising, and we're seeing that her improvement. Sometimes someone like Kevin, does well and then does really poorly and does well, like Amber.
Yeah, it's like
Amber seems much more stable, and it's gradually
this
getting.
season. Yes, this season. She said that her therapist recommended this method to her after last year's Worlds, so she's been really trying that over the summer.
Yeah, and I think it's been good. Do you think she should add a second triple axel to start practicing it for next season?
I'm absolutely sure she's capable of doing that. It's like I see that there is room for growth, and she is definitely confident in that jump. She's like Tuktamisheva. Actually, she said some good words about Lisa's triple axel, and Tuktamisheva from Russia recorded a video message for Amber, and I showed her that message, and it's great that they both of the same age, and they did the triple axel when they were not 18 or 16. It was very, very nice to see that how much they support each other.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think that she could become the favorite for the world title and for the Olympic Games if she can add that
She
second.
just won the first version of Japanese nationals in Grenoble, right? Being
Yes.
five girls from Japan. She is definitely capable of doing that. Home crowd, you know, creates miracles. It's
Yeah.
such a huge support. I mean,
It could go either way. I mean, I think a lot of U.S. fans remember, it was like kind of the tale of two skaters, right? You at
Gracie Gold.
Gracie Gold and Ashley Wagner. Ashley had the
Yeah.
performance of her life, and Gracie, had the opposite at Worlds. So
Because even I remember those, gold for gold, front pages. I think it could be a little bit too much, but Amber seems to have control
mhm.
over her life and emotions. She is so different this season. I mean, I love the way she seems to feel. I mean, I'm not in her body, I'm not her friend. I don't know what actually happens, when she's not with the media, but she looks very open and very confident. I love that about her.
Yeah, and the situation around her seems pretty stable and
Yeah,
positive. Yeah, so it looks good. What did you think about Cowrie? Coming in, not everyone has loved her programs. She said that she wants to, obviously
I
focus on.
like the short. I
Yeah.
like the short. And I mean, you cannot keep winning all the time. You need to find motivation. I have a feeling that she's concentrating on the Olympics at the
Mhm.
moment. Of course, the season is important, but she already had quite a few world titles.
Mhm.
And the biggest goal for her is, of course, that Olympic gold. If she needs to have, you know, some downs before coming back and being the best, it's better now than next season, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I think for her, I wonder what she'll really add for the Olympics besides skating clean, whether or not she could
Do you
really.
think a quad?
I mean, I think It's definitely possible, but I think we would have seen it by now, right? She was competing against all of the Russians for so long, and she's certainly has the ability. So I'm not sure what we'll see from Kaori.
She mentioned to some Japanese media that she's been following some Russian competitions and she's keeping an eye on what's happening there. But she clearly has her own path, and she's so good. I mean, I'm not the first to say that, but her double axel is something that should be, put in the textbook and just, stay there forever. When you see that in person, it just mesmerizes you. It's so good. It's just, the best of the best. Um, should she get some, I don't know, quad? I don't know. If she skates clean, confident, with the power she can, um, I'm sure she can, fight for that gold medal even without any quads.
I'm sure without she could fight for it, and I certainly don't count her out at all. But I do wonder if she could potentially.
Probably she needs a quieter season when she's not a favorite at all the events. Now more spotlight is on Glenn,
Mhm.
and probably it's not the worst thing for Kaori.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And we've seen her get better throughout the season. And
Yeah. It started really, shaky at Lombardia, but now Kaori Gamba. I'm really supporting her. She's good.
what about Wakaba? She has really risen this season.
I'm so happy to see her. I mean, to see her back and to see her skating, and I even like her dune program. Not many dune programs of the season that I really like. Uh, I I don't know. I just think that skaters that have been skating for so long and they're still there and they're still fighting, they all deserve a chance. She is not as stable, like psychologically, I have a feeling, as the other girls. And Japan Nationals is going to be just a massacre. Uh, and I mean, except for Kaori, I don't think we can bet on anybody guaranteed their name, their spot for the worlds. But I will definitely be very happy to see Wakaba in Boston.
You don't think Monet Chiba is going to go to Worlds at this point?
Oh, I love her short program of the season. She is so natural. She is dancing. She is so like fresh and happy. I would love to see her as well. But the problem is that I love many of the Japanese girls, and I kind of have a feeling that Mai Mihara is not going to make it. But I really adore her skating, and I will be missing her. I mean, Japanese nationals are not this week, right? So we'll see who wins, but it's going to be so tough. It's just the worst competition of the season for them. Both Russian and Japanese girls always been saying that nationals is just the worst event of the season because you cannot fail.
It's funny how we discuss the Japanese skaters, like we love them all. When the Russians go, it's like exciting and like fighting, right? I mean, people weren't crying for the 6 Russian girls having 3 spots last time. I mean, it was a different energy.
But I mean, I can say the same things about Russian girls. They're good. The field has changed a lot for those who are not closely monitoring the situation. It's not like multi-quad field anymore. We have Adelia Petrosyan,
Oh,
a skater who.
I mentioned that it wasn't a multi-quad situation during the test skates, and the media was very pulling apart that statement. They were calling everybody for quotes, but they don't have the quads that they had last time.
Yes, not. I mean, that generation of Trusova, Sherbakova, Kosternaya, and Valieva. I think it doesn't happen every 2 years, right? The new girls, some of them have one quad. Some of them, like Anna Frolova, who is, I would say, one of the favorites for a Russian national title, she doesn't have any. She doesn't have the triple axel, but she's skating very beautifully, and she's a stable skater. So she can actually, surprise people at the Russian nationals. But Petrosyan has quads and she has a triple axel. We have Alina Gorbacheva, who also has a quad sal. But definitely the level of competition is lower this season.
What about Sofia Afanasova? Is she expected to
No,
be?
Muravyova?
No. Afanasova, who was so good as a junior and then was injured. Is she expected to be near the top this year?
Shame on me, but I don't know
Oh
who
my
you're
God, I
talking
think
about.
I completely botched a Russian name for gymnastics.
But they're
Oh my God.
no, I don't think they can do the triple axel on the ice.
I
But
know
you
exactly.
actually scared me because I was
I'm
like,
so sorry.
gracious, what am I doing here if I don't know this name?
I made a Kocheva, and I completely gave you the name of the Russian gymnast in 2012. I meant a sorry.
Akateva, I think, is the least fortunate of Russian skaters because when she was good, there was no international arena for Russian skaters, right? So it stopped happening. She spent last season with an injury, and she's back now. She's doing the quad toe, but she hasn't successfully landed that in competition. She plans to do it at the nationals. But should Russia be allowed back as neutral, the next Russian nationals going to be just worse than any Japanese national because it's going to be a fight for 1/4 and it's going to be so bad. I mean, I don't think I can watch it live because it's going to be really, really like bad for my nerves.
Well, I would say that the pairs seem like they're quite close between Boykova Kozlovsky and Mishina Galyamov, though Mishina Galyamov seem like they are on the upper hand. It always seems like Boykova and Kozlovsky are going to rise above them.
Chasing, they're chasing them, but not. They haven't won any of the tournaments. Where both teams would have been present this season, but I think Mishina Galyamov and Boykova and Kozlovsky are the only names that a regular American fan will remember from the Olympic era, like the previous generation of Russian skaters. They're still there. They're still good. Boykova and Kozlovsky are trying the quad throw, but they haven't landed it in competition. They haven't landed it in shows. But I think that all that matters for them is to beat Mishina and Galyamov at the nationals. But Tamara Moskvina is a good coach, and she knows how to put her skaters together. So I don't know. I would bet on Mishina and Galyamov.
Yeah, I'm interested that Boykova Kozlovsky have not really attempted the quad throw in competition. This is very unusual for a team to.
What they said is that they will stop doing this first half of the season because they desperately need the title at Russian nationals, and they don't want to risk getting injured or something. They wanted to psychologically, show off they're capable of doing that, and I think that was smart. But it doesn't make any sense to do it now because Mishina and Galyamov not in their best shape and best form either. So I mean, they don't need a quad throw. I mean, Boykova and Kozlovsky to win the nationals. Two teams are so close. It's going to be interesting.
But the Russian media told us for years that pair skating without quads was going to become boring and irrelevant. So I want them to show up and do it. Like they've talked about this.
But they never said that about pair event, right? So
they were talking about pairs. It was a big on sports. It was a big debate for a while, and they were, talking about it. I'm a little.
Eteri Tbilisi has pairs at her school, and the juniors successfully landed the quad twist.
Yes,
a couple of days ago. Yeah, if you want some quads, I can give you some quads.
She's starting to use the old Zhuk method of a very small girl with a very big guy to try to do some of these elements. So that was interesting, the junior team. The height difference is much greater between the guy and the girl in that junior team that did it.
Oh, yeah. I have a question to you. What do you think of the Olympic champion coming back from China, our beloved Wenzing, coming back to competition with a new partner?
I'm very interested to see her. Obviously, she loves figure skating. We've seen clips of her, practicing over the last couple of years. She never had a very stable quad sow, and she's obviously had injuries in the past. I mean, I'd love to watch her, right? So obviously, I want to watch it. I don't know what to expect. I don't really have expectations for her.
She says that she's heading. I mean, her goal is definitely Milano. 2026. And in Chinese team, it's not such a big level of competition at the moment, right? So it's possible, and the door is open. I just don't think that. I mean, for me, their team was it was chemistry between those two. And for
Yes.
me, of course, it's difficult to imagine her with another partner, but I'm happy she's back. I mean, I would be happy if Alena Savchenko would have decided to come back, but she gave birth to a baby girl, Naomi, yesterday. So let's congratulate her. So she's definitely not coming this season. But you know, it's Alena Savchenko. She might come back next season.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they're both welcome back. As far as I'm concerned, Megan Duhamel
I'll
is,
be thrilled. I'll be
yes.
thrilled. Yeah, that's for sure.
Um, what about Deanna? Deanna Stellato Dudek, she wasn't at the Grand Prix final because Max was sick, although she got her citizenship right after.
Yeah, I texted her that actually, if that was the reason she had to miss the Grand Prix final, I mean, it was not the reason, but let's say that it was a good, you know, dessert. Like
mhm,
missing the Grand Prix final, she was very sad because she was going to fight. But having that passport finally, I
mhm.
mean, it can actually be a very positive news, and I'm so happy for her. She will get her passport a little bit later, but she plans to travel to 4 continents with the new document already.
Yeah. So what were you thinking about her program so far this season and how they're doing?
For me, it's kind of, you know, obvious that they're doing the Beyonce piece because of Boston Worlds. Many skaters choose their music because of the Boston Worlds. Like when you have Beyonce and that whole, it's a TD Garden Arena, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be so crazy and with the song Crazy. And I mean, I understand why they're
Love.
doing that.
Yeah.
I understand why Isabeau is doing Breakfast in at Tiffany's. Um, I want them to feel as confident as they felt last season, because
Mhm,
then I think we will see their program, like the performance will be different.
mhm,
So far, they're still fighting for getting it clean. So probably we don't see the program as it was designed.
mhm.
So let's see and wait until the nationals. Um, I believe in Diana Stellato, that's for sure. I do believe in her. She can do everything.
I do. Yes, I think their programs need more passion, right? Last year, the
You
vampire,
cannot give passion when you're concentrating on landings. I
yes,
mean, if you fight for your landings, there's no passion, right? So once you're confident with that, oh, we will see lots of passion.
I don't know that the ocean is the most passionate program, right? I think for next season, I want to see something with a little bit more temperament. Yeah.
It's a pre-Olympic season. I'm sure that many of the athletes have great ideas about the Olympic programs down their sleeve. They just don't want to use it. This is definitely what's happening in ice dance. I know that some of the teams already know what they want to skate to, and they keeping it for next season. Pre-Olympic season probably is not the most interesting in terms of the programs because nobody would use the 100%, you know, Joker idea for the pre-Olympic season. So let's hope we're going to see some, you know, blast program next season.
She'd be a great Carmen, as far as I'm concerned. She needs.
Okay, red dress, Diana and Carmen. Okay, that could be a lot of fashion.
Yes. Now, how about my other good friend, Tamara Moskvina? She was skating outdoors near the Gulf of Finland, and she was in short
Yeah,
sleeve.
wearing a t-shirt. Yeah, a short
Yes.
sleeve. Yeah.
I messaged her. I didn't think that this was smart for such a wise woman. It's very cold outside. We need Tamara at her best. What was she doing? Yeah.
What did she reply?
It wasn't cold. She just wanted to do something fun for the audience. Yeah.
It's not that cold yet, so it's not like Siberia snow in St. Petersburg. And Tamara Nikolaevna enjoys, you know, audience and attention, and she wants to look good. And I mean, she inspires so many people. She has inspired Diana Stellato Dudek. She has inspired so many skaters. I mean, I'm so happy to see her. She's still doing the lifts. I sent you a video, right, of her being pushed by Alexander Smirnov. I mean, it's unbelievable. I cannot do it. I mean, I cannot do it now. And she's capable of doing that at her age. I mean, my God.
Imagine though, I think, and I've talked to people that were coached by Tarasova or being coached by, Zmievskaya, when they yell at you, they're not in the best shape, and at least you can take that as an athlete, right? Imagine a woman pushing you on the ice at 83 who can still skate. I mean, there's just like a different dynamic of respect.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to say anything, why don't you train at full, 100%? Because I mean, you see Tamara Nikolaevna doing all those things. Yes, she knows how to motivate people, that's for sure.
Yes, she knows what she's doing. What about Kosternaya? What's going on with this 2-year break? What's the news at this point? I heard that you talked to her recently on a live show. How's
It
Ilyana
was
doing?
very brief. I mean, I was doing lives from the Grand Prix Final, and she was there in the Moscow studio. She is commentating. She's doing lots of shows. She's not competing. She said she's taking a 2-year break. We don't know why. There are different, versions circulating, but she's landing jumps. She's doing shows. She is living the life. I mean, her best life, I think. She seems to be pretty happy, I would say. Is she changing flag? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. It's Alena. She can do anything. If she switches to men event, I don't know, next season, I would not be surprised. Or ice dance. She knows how to surprise people. I wish she would have stayed, more in the pair competitive field, because she still has lots of things to learn. And I was there at the Russian test skates in September, and she did good. I mean, she was interesting on the ice. We saw a team there. There was some chemistry, and it's starting happening for those two. But then just 2 weeks after that, they said they're not competing this season. They're taking a 2-year break. For me, it's a pity. I mean, I feel sad that she's not pursuing this, road, and she's not doing that anymore. I believe she will come back in 2 years. Personally, I don't. But I didn't believe in her doing the pair
You didn't, and I
events.
told you to believe in her. So
Yeah, I know. I remember that. You believe in her more than I do. But okay, let's Alena, please surprise us again. I'll be happy.
doing. I don't. I'm waiting to for some sort of announcement from her, but we haven't seen what the 2-year break was about.
I don't think it's happening like in the nearest future, but we'll see. I'll text you if I hear something.
Yeah. What about, what is Trusova doing? She showed up at the test skates. She, tried the quadlats. She didn't land it, but then she stopped
We
competing.
know we knew and we know that she's capable of landing it, and she was landing it successfully. But she did show, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. She showed at the Russian test skate event. I think it was mainly for gaining publicity for her shows. All she does is participating in Evgeny Plushenko shows. She is the prima, the diva, the biggest star of his shows. So she's touring. She is, giving interviews. She got married to a member of a Russian national team, Makar Igdatov. Now she's not Trusova anymore. She is Alexander Ignatova, by the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was asked recently, should Russia be allowed back at the international competition? I mean, as neutral, right? Again, would you be fighting for that spot? And she said that, if Olympics are on the table, probably it's, that could happen.
Yeah. I think it would be very hard for her to come back, especially after she's been.
Yes, of course. But yeah.
They also claim that Volyeva is going to come back all the time. Daniil Gleikenhaus said, that she would be back for the Olympics. So,
it's not like he says that she'll be back for the Olympics. Camila was asked if she's planning a comeback, and she said that she's working on it, but there's still 1 year that she needs to spend without training. She is participating in the shows with Tatiana Navka. She's touring a lot, like many Russian skaters, even those who are on the national team now and participating on the nationals in December. They are doing lots of shows because there's lots of money in this business. Alina Zagitova is trying to get her own show next year, I think. I mean, everybody seems to be making money of that industry. It's big, lots of shows touring, but Valieva is there. She's skating, she's doing triples, and she's spending lots of time in the gym. We see that, but let's talk in a year.
Well, What's going on with Zagitova? So I saw an article. Obviously, there's always been talk that she's building a skating school. Right now, she wants her own show, but there's also talk
She's
about
given one by the state.
yes,
It's not like she's building her own school. It's just that one of Russian regions is talking about building a big school in Kazan, and that would be named after Zagitova. And she was invited to be like the ambassador and the head of this school, but they haven't even started building the arena. So it's just, some talk at the moment.
it's been going on for a while. Yeah, that they've been planning the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
but apparently her driving is quite poor. She has there was an article about how much she owes in driving tickets. And
she had 175, if I'm not mistaken, driving tickets just this year, and the year is not over. Red light, speeding, lots of violations. And in Russia, we don't have a system that like you have 3 violations and your driving license is revoked, right? Have I used the right word? Yeah. It's just that you pay the fine and you keep driving. I cannot guarantee it was her all the time because the fine is being issued for a vehicle. We don't know who was driving that, but there are some pictures that actually she was sitting there, and when you get a fine, there's a picture of you by the camera. At some of them, definitely was Alina Zagitova. We had a case, I think it was last spring, when she was filming herself driving, not noticing it was already red light. She's not the most attentive driver, and I wouldn't be very happy driving next to her or crossing the road when she's driving. But everything related to Alina Zagitova is attracting lots of attention and media attention and discussions. But actually, I don't know a single person who had more than 150 penalties and tickets a year. So it's something exceptional, I would say.
how is our Angeloka Anna Sherbakova doing? Is she working as a
She's working a lot as a TV host for Channel 1, because Channel 1 is doing lots of events for Russian figure skating. They introduced League of Champions, the new format. They divided all the Russian national like skaters of the Russian national team, and actually beyond the team, like I would say 20, into 6 teams. Okay, let's start with this. 6 teams of, let's say, 10, 15 athletes, and they have the competition between those teams. It includes, I don't know, videos that they make, jumps, the longest combo that they land. They try to engage athletes in lots of activities, because when you do not compete internationally and you see the Grand Prix Final going on, skaters getting ready for the Olympics, it's very difficult to, keep your motivation. So Channel 1 is doing all those things. They plan an event at Baikal Lake. I think it's the biggest natural lake in the world, where skaters going to skate and compete. I don't know, they're trying to do a lot of stuff. And Anna Sherbakova is a TV host there. She's a commentator for Russian national events. She's there quite a lot. She's a good commentator. She says lots of good things about skaters, and she actually explains the jumps and how everything is done. So she's working there. That's her. I would say that's her job number 1.
Is she skating again, doing shows?
No, not yet. She had a surgery in spring, and she hasn't skated since then.
Okay. Yeah, I have noticed that everyone's favorite bronze medalist from 2016 is back, making headlines again. There was the Medvedeva birthday show where Medvedeva, Radionova, and Pogorilaya all posed and performed together, and Pogorilaya has certainly been giving lots of interviews lately. So she was...
Yeah, she's back, I would say, at the media scene. She's giving quite a number of interviews, but you have to understand that figure skating is still very popular in Russia, and people need some new faces. When I say new faces, it's not like it's a new skater. It's somebody that hasn't been active publicly. And Anna had 2 kids, and she was not very socially active. I mean, at the social events, at some sport events, but now she seems to enjoy that. She is pretty much everywhere. together with Zhenya and some other girls, giving comments that probably are not the smartest, I'm afraid, because she was asked about, Camilla, about Luna Hendricks, and Anna is not the person actually who should comment on things like that, because, she's not the smartest, I would say. I'm sorry, but sometimes her comments are really, questionable. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, for sure. What do you make about Terry? First of all, we haven't seen Terry this year.
It's like, I feel like I'm being interrogated.
You know what? You're not asking me anything, but we haven't seen
Oh,
Terry.
I should. Yeah.
You haven't seen we haven't seen a Terry lately. She's focused on Diana. She's a mother. Diana's not having a very good season, even though she's
traveling to the events as a coach of Nika Agadze, the Georgian single skater.
Such an esteemed skater, Maya. If this is a Terry's work, I don't know about her professional credentials. Yeah.
But it gives her a chance to travel to international events. So I haven't seen her this season. I know nothing. She's got a new rink, right? And they introduced a new format of, they have the open practices now. They had one, I think it was in September, because there was a big, argument between Plushenko school and Eteri school about one girl, and Eteri arranged a public open practice, raising money for helping that girl to pay her debt to Plushenko. It's complicated. So they repeated this event last week, I think. This week, actually. It's still Friday, right? Yeah. After Grand Prix Final, I'm a little bit lost. So they sell tickets, and people have a chance to come to the rink and see everybody from Eteri's school, and her, Dudakov and Gleichengaus are sitting there and commenting and, interviewing the kids. It's quite an interesting format, I would say, because it gives you a chance to see how everything is, happening there, to see that rink, to see the dressing rooms, and some go to the same cafeteria that Eteri and Petrosyan are going. So they're doing something, but of course they're not as active as they used to be before.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? We can now do adult skating, I think, at Team Tuberidze's new rink, because Daniil Gleichenhaus has an adult skating class twice a week.
It's not only his group. It's a huge rink. You have to understand. It's beautiful, big. It has lots of opportunities to skate. And there are some groups, like Maya Chromych is one of the coaches for the kids there. And it's not always like the promising kids with like big potential. It's just, for the kids to skate. And Daniil Gleichengaus indeed has a practice group twice a week. It costs around $400 for 8 sessions, group sessions. It's not many people in that group. So actually anybody can sign up.
So you're thinking that there's a future for me and Danny G to be doing choreography together?
Please let me be there when you sign up, and when he sees you, I will be there to film, because it's going to be just so hilarious.
Listen, I've taken Benoit's class before. Why not? Right? Why not? Okay.
I have to be there. Just promise me you would not do it without me.
Did you see that our 2 favorite skaters are going to be performing together in Art on Ice, Papadakis and Hubble?
Yes, I'm so thrilled. It's like first I'm a little bit disappointed and sad that it's not happening at Boston Worlds. Who knows? Probably it will. But I kind of hoped that they're practicing for home Worlds for Madison, be an Americanized dancer. But I'm still happy that it's happening in Switzerland. I start thinking of going there just to see that, because I'm a huge fan of Madison Humble, and obviously Gabriela is, a pleasure to watch. I would be very happy to see her and Guillaume skating together, but it doesn't look like it's happening. But
this is better. Papadakis and Hubble, something new, something we haven't.
It's new, and I'm sure that for Gabriela it's way more challenging and exciting, and they can be so good. They have chemistry. They do have chemistry on that ice. I'm dying to see what they have to show us.
Sports will love it. On sports.ru, they will be fascinated by this.
Let's be honest, the whole world gonna love it.
Yes, of
because
course.
this is something that we've been waiting for so long, because they announced that some time ago before Madison had a baby. And at the same time, it's definitely something fresh and something new, and it's giving it's giving us a new perspective.
Hmm.
I mean, it can motivate so many people. It's so beautiful, and it's definitely something new. I mean, I love ice dance, but if I have a chance to see Madison Humble and Gabriela Papadakis as one ice dance team, it's more than I ever hoped for.
Yes. Well, what do you think about ice dance so far? I knew Lila was going to medal at the final. You thought so as well. But I was a little surprised Piper and Paul making the mistake they did, although they got a very high score in the free dance.
You
What?
know what? I have a version. I have an understanding of what could probably happen there. In Grenoble, they introduced the new interactive LED boards.
Mhm.
They also had big screens, and actually, ISU did a good job in redesigning the presentation of the athletes, because now you know how it happened before. They call for all 5 or 6 athletes. The whole group is on the ice, and then they're announcing one after another. Now they had a big screen, the curtain, some, how you call that? The smoke machines.
Yep, the smoke. Yep.
It was really like a red carpet thing, and
Mhm.
every skater had his own moment, and he had his own spotlight. And they had to, like, I spoke to some of them, and they were like, it felt like it's already an award ceremony and we're just about to perform. So it was kind of, not something they used to. It was good. So coming back to those new LED boards, they are used for the ads, obviously, but also for, when a skater hits the ice, you see his flag, his name, and they're going to be using it way more in Boston. They also will have those LED boards. It's the new thing that ISU is introducing to attract more sponsors, and it also is going to be used as a part for in interaction with the audience. But so those new LED boards, they take approximately 20 centimeters. Please convert that to the system. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
20 centimeters, it's a little bit like this
Yeah.
from the ice surface, because you have to put the screen on top of the existing board of the rink. And when you look closely at how Paul fell, actually the back of his skate kind of caught this board, and if not for the new LEDs, probably he wouldn't have fallen. But what they say is that they have to be ready to any rink size, and it can be NHL rink size, and in Boston it's an NHL rink size, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And they have to adjust, and this is what skaters do, they adjust so easily. But it's just that he was skating backwards, and probably he didn't realize that this rink is now this 20 centimeters smaller. I don't know. It wasn't a very unfortunate thing to happen, because if not for that fall, probably Lila would have not medaled, to be honest, because they got pretty good scores for the free dance. I mean, Piper and Paul. So I don't know. I'm probably not very much agreeing with the overall scores that Madison and Evan got. I mean, it was more than 10 points between them and the Italians, right? It was
13.
1-3-2, 13. Yeah. I don't think it actually reflects what we see on the ice. I don't see that huge of a gap. But,
It would be the difference is that they were so far back, right after the rhythm dance. Piper and Paul, if they were 13 points ahead of Piper and Paul and they were clean in both programs, I think that would be outrageous. I don't find the Italians very inspiring. I think this year is probably the weakest material the Italians have had.
let's hope that they have something like really good down their sleeve. It's just that the strongest thing the Italians can do is skating.
Mhm.
Those lines and that fine skating that we all love. And I don't see it that much in their free dance this season. Although I do understand Barbara. I think that probably they tried to play at the same field as Lila and Lewis.
Mhm.
Being different, being funny, I mean, their gala number where it all originated was really good. Everybody loved that in Montreal at Worlds. but it feels like probably it's not the best they can show because they're not sharp enough. You know, they're very, I love how smooth they are as a team, and their skating is just, I know, by far the best at the current top. I still love them, so I cannot say that, okay, I don't like this dance, but there were some dances, free dances of those skaters that I loved more. That's true.
What do you make of Marjorie and Zach? There's a lot of buzz and momentum about this team that's been, you know, kind of
I
brewing.
love the way Zach plays the piano. I also love him on the ice, of course. It's just, I had a feeling that it's like it's not their season. It's not like their top priority. Their free dance is something I have seen before. They're good, both of them. But actually, I have seen the Austin Powers one, right? The same as Marjorie. Like Marjorie and Zach did that when they were juniors, actually novice, I think. I don't know. I hope to see more of them next season because they're capable of fighting for the top spot. They actually can give really hard time to Piper and Paul within the Canadian team. It's just that this season they're trying. It's like they're students on the ice. I have this feeling that they're still students, and next to them they're like graduates skating.
Yeah, I think that sometimes they've lost time the last couple of seasons because of concussions, and I'm starting to.
Yes, of course, it hasn't been easy for them. Of course, they have to, you know, come back.
They're always coming back, right? So we haven't seen them have that full preparation and
at full, at full, yeah.
But they're always coming back. Where you know you see how many times per year Lila and Lewis compete. They've just gotten so much more experience. Even though I think Marjorie and Zach have more potential, right, in terms of what their skating ability could be.
Yeah, I mean, this season, if somebody didn't believe in Lila and Lewis, I mean, they should start believing in them now because, you know, being the only team that qualified with 2 first places at the Grand Prix circuit, and, you know, they were the last to skate in the rhythm dance at the Grand Prix Final.
They haven't gotten a great free dance score so far this season, like a really outstanding total. And that's something that is a little bit concerning.
All I can say is that when the TD Garden audience hears that, you know, Beyonce song, it's going to go wild. Definitely. It's going to be a big thing happening at that arena. Actually, I heard that the tickets are being, you know, sold pretty fast, and it's popular, and it's going to be a full house. So let's all hope for that because it's so good to see, you know, skaters skating at like it happened in Boston in 2016. I mean, it was a magical feeling, right? So let's hope it, you know, happens again.
Yeah, I've been debating if I'm going to go, so we'll have to see.
You should. I mean, it's happening in Boston. Of course, you should come.
You know, it's a great, you know, event, an arena. Is there anything else that you didn't see or that you saw at the final that stood out? Yuma, did you watch him practice?
What really stood out? I mean, I don't know. I think we all saw what happened there. I liked the way the German pair is skating at the moment. They gained so much confidence, and I think they really can be top contenders for the gold in Boston.
I wanted more personality at the event. You know, without Deanna there, we just didn't have that strong.
It's just Deanna definitely has a strong personality, and she knows how to present herself. Not many skaters know how to do that. What actually, you asking me about Grenoble, what I want to also talk about a little bit is you've been asking me about some Russian national team and some skaters. Russian men is something that you should really keep an eye on as discipline at Russian nationals, because if some discipline in Russian figure skating is booming, is, you know, men event, because we have 8-9 skaters that can actually aim for the podium. There are quite a few skaters that got 300 points. Of course, some people can say that it's Russian national judging, but actually it's okay, it looks like they could possibly get it at the international arena as well. They're doing 4-5 quads each. It's not like one skater is doing 5 quads. It's like I can keep saying names, and some of the names probably will not be even familiar to some of the American fans, because it's new people. I mean, we still have Mark Kondratyuk, who was in Russian national team in Beijing, and he is the one who is doing 5 quads this season and successful landing them. We have Vlad Dikiji, who successfully landed a quad axel in practice in spring, and he's also doing lots of quads. Of course, probably he's not the the top skater components wise, but it's still something very interesting to look at. And we still have Evgeny Semenenko, we have Petr Gumennik, and we have the new boy, Nikolai Ugazaev, who is also doing 4 or 5 quads. I mean, it's something you should really, really, watch for. It's interesting, and it's going to be very, very thrilling, this Russian Nationals.
Okay. What about?
I don't think that you were very enthusiastic about what I just said.
I have to tell you, I had a message from a skater, and I saw it went on the top of my computer, and it said she broke her hip, and I was making sure it wasn't a figure skater. It was Nancy Pelosi.
Okay.
So I was making sure that they weren't talking. I was like, as we're filming, did a figure skater just break her hip? So I went to look down for a second to make sure. You caught me well, because I wanted to make sure that, no, I am into the men doing the quads. I'm going to watch.
It's not only quads. I think that they're also good in performing. And I wish some of them could have competed along with Ilia and Yuma and Adam, because they're interesting to watch. Seriously, it's something like, it's a pleasure, such a pleasure
like
to watch
Yuma?
them.
Because I asked you about Yuma, you didn't seem that interested. Yeah.
I love the way he skates.
Yeah.
I love Carolina Kostner by the boards. It's just that is something missing for me.
Okay.
It's not the performance that I would keep watching again and again. Probably because he wants that to win so much that he concentrates on that. I miss Sharma so much. I miss Sharma on the ice, because I saw the personality there, and I really, really miss him. It's sad that he's not competing anymore.
Yeah. I think with Yuma, he is missing a little bit of the performance. They're working on it a lot from year to year, but that's, the one little ingredient, I think, for him, other than getting like a quad Lutz.
For media, when you speak to someone, or interview or mix zone, or when you have a chance to speak to a person, you get to know him a little bit better. Like Mikhail Shaidorov from Kazakhstan, he's good technically. He's a new name, relatively new name on the field, but I get to speak to him. I understand what kind of athlete he is, and of course, for me, that's why I understand him better as a skater. When it comes to Japanese skaters, it's a little bit more complicated to understand what kind of personality there is. I don't know much about Yuma as a skater. I just see him on the ice, which probably should be enough for me. But I understand what kind of girl power he is. I wish I could learn a little bit more about Yuma in this respect.
I think it's missing on the ice too. We don't see it as much as we did from you.
Yes, probably also. Yeah. You wanted to what you wanted to talk about Luna as well.
A little
right?
bit, yes. We haven't seen her in competitions, this year. She was
Since
supposed
Shanghai, yeah.
She was supposed to go to Zagreb, and she withdrew. Do you expect to see her at Europeans?
Of course. Yeah, she is. I think she's coming back for sure. I don't think she's missing a season before the Olympics. I just, actually 2 hours ago, I got a message from the ISU saying that they plan to reallocate finally those European medals that had to be reallocated because of Camila Valieva case. And Luna will get her bronze medal from 2022, European bronze. That will not be like a fancy ceremony or anything, but she will finally get that medal. I think it's a good development. It's a closure. Finally, we can put this whole thing into archives. And also what they said is that the IOC is planning to give Russian national team, the Olympic team from Beijing, their bronze medals that were awarded to them, and they plan to send it through the Russian Olympic Committee. So that's some new development on this topic.
Okay.
I
So
feel like I'm on big news. So
yes,
what we
Sasha
have,
Ignatova, right? Like she's some medals for.
Sasha Ignatova now will have silver. Your favorite Anna Sherbakova will get a European title, and Luna will get bronze.
Yes, well, Anna Sherbakova, she was already golden, so she was always the winner. I'm sorry.
I will text her. Okay.
I always believe in her. You know,
coming back to yeah, I'm sorry.
When she was at there's a video of her doing the quad lutz at
when she was small.
Yes, Skate America in Vegas. I think she's only small. But she went doing the Firebird, and you can hear me yell when she lands it. So like right.
Really, I have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
How do you actually do you like Firebird by Sarah Everhart?
You know, I am impressed with her jumps and her ability to compete, but I don't see the artistic side of her coming through yet. And
probably not yet, but I think she actually can qualify for the Worlds.
I know, but she's coached by Ilia's parents, so I'm not really encouraged.
Is it a bad thing?
Well, for artistic development, it's not encouraging. They are not really known for their dramatic presentation, I would say.
I mean, but if she can land all the jumps that she has in plan, she will be a tough competitor for Isabel and for Alisa. So what would be your bet? Who's going to Worlds from the American girls?
Okay, this is what I think. I think the team that is going to be named will be Amber.
Oh yeah, that was an easy one.
Alyssa Liu and Sarah. No, I think it'll be Amber, Alyssa, and Isabeau. But I don't think that Isabeau will compete at the nationals, and I think that they will.
You don't think she's competing there?
I don't know. We don't hear about her, right? What's going on? It's been very quiet. Usually, no news is bad news in skating. When you don't hear any chatter, she's back on the ice. She's never said what her situation is, why she's.
But she hasn't been too active on social media, right?
Yeah,
she's like
these kids live their lives. Like they tell us everything. When we don't hear something, it's bad, right? So I think
I hope to see her, but I'm more confident in Alisa qualifying for World, which is also like a huge story, right? Who would have told me 2022 that Alisa is coming back, that she looked like she's fed up with that skating so much.
Yes.
It looked like enough is like big word, like enough, I'm done. And she's back, and now she seems to enjoy that.
And she's rebellious. She's fun, right? She's a fun person.
She's so different now, and I love those stories. When a story of comeback, a story of Amber Glenn landing that triple axel after 20, and it's beautiful stories for figure skating, right? So I'll be watching a nationals, that's for sure.
I think Everhart will be the alternate. I would not be surprised to see her compete in Boston.
What if she does really good at the nationals? What if she gets silver?
They'll send her to 4 continents and Junior Worlds. And then,
well, okay.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure to send Isabeau to Worlds because she had a medal last year, depending on how she's doing. She's been such a star. And I think she certainly deserves the opportunity, if she can get healthy, for Worlds to be there. I would expect to see in Boston on the ice Amber, Alyssa,
and Isabeau.
Sarah Everhart.
What about men? Okay, Ilia. Let me take it first. Ilia.
Ilia Dorgashov.
Jason Brown.
I think Jason, but we know Jason didn't compete in Zagreb. He's been doing some shows
in Lithuania, right next to where I live, actually.
Well, I expect him, to be on the team, but he hasn't had a great season. But I think he'll be there. I
think they're aiming for team event in Milano.
Yeah, but okay. Do you think Ilia will do both events? I mean, Ari's going to want him out in front of the public as much as possible. Would you have him do both short and long?
it seems like Ilia doesn't care. He can do 4 programs in one day.
Yeah.
But so much may change until next February. I mean, every skater gets to lose one day. I just don't want that to happen to Ilia like really soon, because that would be, on the other hand, probably he would bounce off and get regrouped for the Olympics. So far he seems to be absolutely like stable and mentally very predictable. Like imagine the last group is on the ice already skating, and usually what happens to skaters, they wear some headphones and they try to concentrate, they go in through their routine and everything. Ilia is not like that. He is watching others skate. When Shaidorov was doing that new combo that he did in Grenoble, Ilia was in skaters lounge by the big screen watching that and cheering for him, and it was just 3 skaters to go before his performance. He seems to be really, he doesn't, I mean, he can actually skate with no problem after watching and hearing somebody else's results. It doesn't bother him. So I think this is a very, very strong thing that would help him a lot. But, we'll see. I mean, he's definitely your national champion in January, right? But at Worlds, who can actually, take the title away from him? Yuma? Adam? I don't think so.
Ilia would have to have a terrible day to lose the world championships. He would have to really have a bad day. I do wonder for the team event if Jason can actually qualify, because Andrew Torgashev is skating so well.
Finally, we see Andrew really doing good, and actually he could have qualified for the Grand Prix final with the better judging.
Jason
I don't
has
know.
also come back many times. I mean, Jason was better in 2023 than he was in 2022. So,
I do think that actually Jason would be a bigger story, like media-wise, if he's on the national team with all his experience. And, I think that if he skates clean, he will get the spot.
I mean, he's so beloved, so it'll be a big story.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and it's a big thing. People love him, love watching him. He is just the star of every show. And, Olympics is when you want some stories, like Diana Stellato Duda coming back to Italy for the Olympics. She was going to be at 2006 Olympics in Torino, right? And now she's coming back in 20 years for another Italian Olympics. Jason Brown coming back for the team event. I mean, Madison and Evan being the oldest, I think, Olympic champions. I don't know. People love those kind of stories. So I hope to see Jason at nationals like the Jason we know.
Yeah, I do as well. What are you most looking forward to for Japanese and Russian nationals? Is there one performance or one skater that you really...
I want Mai Mihara to do good. Sorry, but my heart belongs to her. I want to see Jason Brown do good. That's for sure. I want to see, I don't know, I think I would stick to that, because American ice dance, I wonder who gets silver, to be honest, because I mean it's Christina and Anthony for sure, but there may be some surprises from Vadim and from Michael. I hope to see some intrigue, something, unexpected results in American ice dance.
Yeah, I think for Japanese nationals, I want to see Kazuki do well, because I always like his skating. I hope that Wakaba skates well enough to make Worlds, so that she can continue her improvement to build on this, hopefully for next season. Because I think it's really important that she's in the mix, and I want to see her restore the triple axel to get it back, because I think it would be really good for the field as a whole.
Do you really believe it's happening?
I have concerns because we saw it 4 years ago when she, 4 years ago when she did it in 2022. We saw her start to compete it the season before. Or at least attempted in the warm-up. We're not seeing it yet, but I don't think that means that she can't get it, right? I think if she gets in shape and gets confident that she can add this back, maybe it's more important for her to be consistent this season. And she's way more consistent this year than she ever has been in the past. So,
I would love to see a battle of triple axel in
mhm,
Boston. That's for
yeah,
sure. Because it's beautiful. It gives us so much as viewers, fans. But I just hope that she just skates clean what she has already in her programs this season, and that would be enough. Enough for me to be happy for her, and enough for a good placement.
yeah. And obviously, I think Tamara Moskvina will be victorious at the Russian Nationals. I think I trust her at this point. So I think
Um,
she herself could go out and win if she needed to. You know, she could
you
fill.
know, the best thing about Tamara Moskvina is that even if her team does not, get the gold, it doesn't mean anything. It's not the end of the story. And she definitely knows how to pull them together. And I trust in her 100%. She's
Mhm.
a magician. And she's so confident, and we're so happy to still have her as an active coach. Uh, I really wish I was a skater just to train with Tamara Moskvina.
Of course, yes, absolutely. Well, thank
Do
you.
you want to go and practice at her rink one day?
Of course, I've been invited by her several times. So yes, I
Okay, I'll
would.
be filming you.
I think that we would make a great pair together. We could do, some sort of elements together, our spirals or something. I think we'd look.
Just be very careful. She's our national treasure.
She's tough. She can hold herself. You see her in the please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Thank you so much for coming on. Bye now.